Welcome in, and you are sitting courtside with Karli Bell. Before we even get started, as you can tell, Derek Jensen is not here again this week because I'm sending a huge congratulations to the Jensen family. They welcomed in their first child, and both baby and mom are healthy and home, which is just fantastic. They got to celebrate their first ever Mother's Day. Phenomenal things. So congratulations to Derek and his family. Like I said, I will have some other guests coming on throughout the season as Derek is away on paternity leave because the baby obviously takes a top priority. So let's get right into it. We're going to talk Sky first. We're going to talk about things that happened in the last 3 preseason games. As I'm recording this, I know Joe just got home from Media Day, so I will share some of the top takeaways that I had from Media Day, and then we'll look at the WNBA as a whole. But before we get started, let's get into some Sky news. They made 3 roster cuts on Mother's Day, with Alex Wilson, Morgan Birch, and Jessica Carter being waived from the team, which now puts the roster at 12, which means most likely that Haley Van Lith and Maddie Westfeld will be on the final 2025 roster moving forward. Phenomenal things to see. 2 rookies being able to make a roster that were drafted. That's just something we haven't really seen throughout the W this year. So it's always good to see that. And also to give you an update on that number 10 pick, who we have not seen at all in training camp, Aisha Sioka. She will not be playing in 2025 for the Chicago Sky. General Manager Jeff Pagliacca confirmed at Media Day, but they will be retaining her rights and they expect her to play in 2026. So good things moving forward for the Sky on a roster standpoint. And then if we even want to look even further into 2047, there is a possible draft pick there for the Chicago Sky as Courtney Vandersloot and former Sky guard Allie Quigley have a daughter together. They announced that through People magazine on Mother's Day. So another set of people that got to celebrate being first-time moms. When asked about it at Media Day, Courtney Vandersloot said that it just feels like she has a whole new purpose in playing basketball now that her daughter is here. And she even said as well to be back in Chicago where she was drafted with and where she won a championship with her daughter's other mom in Allie Quigley, also winning a championship in Chicago and being up in the stands watching her. You just can't write a better script than that actual quote from Courtney Vandersloot on Media Day. So congratulations to the Vanderquigs on welcoming a baby girl into their family. Phenomenal things. Things I think a guard that the Sky should keep an eye on for 2047. I know, gotta look 20 years down the line. Phenomenal things to see. And I also want to say this, happy Mother's Day to any of the mothers that are listening. There is no way that any athlete would be able to do anything that they wanted to do without their mother's support. And it's just phenomenal to see. I spent my Mother's Day with my mom. We played some golf, had some good time, and had some good food afterwards, but with my mom and my dad. And it was just a good day. It was a beautiful day in Chicago, really nice, 70 degrees. And we're getting that right around this time of year, right before it starts to get exorbitantly hot. So I'm really glad we were able to get a nice day in. So let's get straight into Media Day. One of the biggest things that stood out from Media Day was there were a couple common themes that really stood out. The biggest thing being that all these players said that this is the first time they've played with joy like this in a long time. Not the first time. It's been a while since they've been able to play with this much joy on the court, which says a lot about the type of culture that Tyler Marsh is wanting to instill and create in Chicago as a first-year head coach. I've heard it all preseason, all training camp, that culture is going to be something that's going to grow. Chemistry will get there. You know, it's only a 2-week training camp, so there's only so much that you can do in regards to building chemistry during that time. So that will obviously come more reps, more time, all of that. But to hear already from players that they believe that they're gelling this quickly, this seamlessly, is something that you don't really hear under a first-time head coach across the league. It's really hard to hear that, not just from, one player. This is across the board that Tyler Marsh has created a level of two-way communication between him and the players to him as well, both ways, two-way communication, hence the word for it, in creating that culture and also creating the identity that the Sky want to have for 2025. This is going to be a team, and I really do believe after seeing these 3 preseason games, being at practice, being around the team, this is a team that will make the playoffs. I personally see them finishing in that 5 to 7 range. The only reason I could see them dropping that low is injuries, because there's only 12 roster spots. I went on a whole diatribe about expanded rosters last week. That's something we don't need to get into yet again this week. Also, if you guys want to go listen to that, 10-minute spiel, go ahead and tune in to last week's episode. But on top of that, it's just been joy across the board from every player that I spoke to on media day, that the media was able to speak to. It's something that is really, really a night and day difference outside of just what you've seen on the court, which are there's more shooters, better spacing, faster pace. There's a lot of things that are completely different in on-court performance from the Chicago Sky. But off the court, and a lot of people don't seem to want to recognize this sometimes, is chemistry is one of the most important things when it comes to a winning team. And I said it in our earlier episodes that they really want to create that sisterhood. And now that you're 2 weeks, and that was day 1 of training camp. So you're now 2.5-ish weeks later, and they believe that they're gelling seamlessly and that there's just a great camaraderie that's being built, not just with on the court performance, people being great leaders, people being vocal, stepping up, all that, but also off the court. They try and do team dinners. They all live really close to each other in their apartment complexes. So they're able to hang out with each other off the court and create opportunities there, workout sessions, things like that. It's really great to hear that this chemistry is already building really, really early. And that's a credit to Tyler Marsh. And, Pagliacca said in the media day press conference that he believes that Marsh has, quote, exceeded expectations, end quote, already before a single regular season game. That is high praise from a general manager about a first-year head coach. And he has just spoken incredibly highly of Tyler Marsh. He said that this is somebody that he really wanted to get when they did let go of Teresa Weatherspoon in September. Tyler Marsh was somebody that he really, really wanted on this coaching staff to be the new head coach for the Chicago Sky. And they have worked in tandem. And Jeff has even said that they wouldn't have been able to build this roster without the help of Tyler Marsh and his ability, his reputation, along with his resume within not only the W, which everyone's like, he only has 3 years of W experience, but he's got 10, 15 plus years of basketball experience from collegiate into the NBA, in the defunct, I think it was a D League, basically the G League for the NBA at that time when he was there. He's been around basketball for a really long time. And not only that, he's been around winning basketball, championship caliber experience basketball. That is something that not only exists in the coaching staff, but also exists in who they brought on in free agents. Courtney Vandersloot, which I'm going to get into her a little bit more here. But Courtney Vandersloot winning a championship in Chicago in 2021. She knows what it takes to win in the city. Ariel Atkins also being part of a winning program with the 2019 Washington Mystics. That's going to be incredibly helpful, not only for what the actual franchise wants to do moving forward, which they say that they want to, quote, win now. That's the biggest thing. It's all a winning now experience. But it's also going to be really beneficial for the younger players in Angel, Kamilla, the 2 rookies in Haley Van Lith and Maddie Westfeld, even the players that have only been in the league for a little bit, like Michaela Onyenwere. She's been in the league now 5 years. She does have veteran experience, but compared to Elizabeth Williams entering her 11th season, Courtney Vandersloot entering her 15th season, like that's a complete difference. So having that championship caliber experience, knowing what it takes to win in the W is going to be incredibly helpful for the Chicago Sky this season. A name, though, that outside of Marsh getting high praise from Jeff Pagliacca and all the rest of his team as well, just commending him on being somebody who doesn't say a lot, but is very clear and concise in what he says and has a open lane in communication with his team. But another name that's really popped up is Sloot. And Sloot is somebody that is one of the top point guards in this league, top 3 point guards in this league, because of what she's been able to do in different systems. She was able to win it in Chicago. She won it in New York. She wants to try and do that again here with the Sky in 2025. But she not only can score, like her offensive ability is there. Her ability to facilitate offense is what makes her the floor general. She also makes it look so easy. And as somebody who's been watching basketball for a very long time, covering basketball for a very long time, it's true. It's really hard to find another guard. I would throw Chelsea Gray in there as well. They are Skylar Diggins in some aspects as well. Those 3 really know how to create offense and know how to facilitate and make their teammates around them on the court be successful and also lead the offense. Vandersloot is somebody's name that everybody across the board, not just these young players, but people like Rachel Banham, like Kia Nurse, like Elizabeth Williams, they all say it is a joy to have Vandersloot on this team, that she is somebody that is echoing things that need to be heard. When she talks, people listen. And on top of that, that's just with what she's doing with veteran players. What she's doing with the youth in this team, and we'll just start with Kamilla and Angel. Kamilla and Angel now have a point guard that can feed them inside and can get them moving and have them be good screeners. They were already good screeners, but using them more on pick and roll. We saw it in the preseason game. Both Angel and Kamilla especially Kamilla, have speed that I don't think people really understand. And having Courtney Vandersloot there, both Kamilla and Angel have said that it is refreshing, a breath of fresh air. It's just so calming to have her presence offensively. So her impact is going to be felt. If it hasn't been felt already, and I know fans haven't seen much because it's only been 3 preseason games, but this has been a consensus across the board from coaching staff, from support staff, from players, from the front office, how important it is to have Courtney Vandersloot on this team. She is going to do monumental things, not only for what the Sky wants to do as a whole. She's also going to be a phenomenal leader, teaching those young players the right habits to become professionals. Courtney Vandersloot's entering her 15th season and she looks fantastic. You normally see a body wear down around age 34, 35 because you've just been hooping for so long. That's not the case with Sloot. She looks like she's in phenomenal shape. She can still go. That motor is still there. So age really isn't a factor for her. But for her to be there and be a leader for them in teaching the right habits, she's also being a leader for the rookie guard in Hailey Van Lith. Hailey Van Lith, in my opinion, I don't want to speak on what Courtney wants to do after this season, but there is only an X amount of time left for her to play, especially now that her and Allie have a baby together. She may want to step away and really focus on being a mom. Not saying that's what she wants to do. It's just something that you have to think about when you're thinking 26, 27, 28, 29, 5-6 years down the line. Hailey Van Lith being able to learn from Courtney Vandersloot is going to be incredibly important and impactful for the Chicago Sky and for Hailey Van Lith's overall development. We've heard it all preseason, that Hailey Van Lith's ability to adapt quickly, because she transferred 3 times, went from Louisville to LSU to TCU, and she had to learn 3 different systems and where she was utilized in 3 different ways. And she did it successfully and was able to be a part of postseason play with every school that she was a part of. So she knows how to adapt quickly. Now she can really fine tune everything. And there's no better, and she even said it on media day. Hailey Van Lith said, quote, "If there's any vet that I wanted to learn from in my rookie year, it would be Courtney Vandersloot," end quote. High praise for a rookie, for the point guard that's on the team there. And we've heard it all season that Hailey's a sponge. That work ethic is there. Everything's there for her to be successful and to now learn those really good habits from Sloot in a rookie season, while also learning how to feed your bigs in Kamilla and Angel that will be around when you come back in 2026 and 2027. You don't know what's going to happen in 2028, but just at those next 2 years, you now know how to feed them. You know how to find the offense, and you're also learning a system with the head coach where if he does make the playoffs and does make this push, a coach that will be here for a while. So it's just a really great pairing that Jeff Pagliacca has done in building this roster. They always said that they wanted to get shooters, and they got plenty of them. I think we've seen it just in the amount of 3-pointers that have been taken in these preseason games, but he really wanted to bring in veteran experience because there's things that coaches and general managers don't know because they're not the ones on the court playing the game, that these veterans do know and can teach those good habits of being a pro basketball player. It's something that Pagliacca should absolutely be commended on. It's something that I'm excited to see what Hailey Van Lith's development under Courtney Vandersloot is going to be like for this upcoming season. And I'm also just excited to see more Sloot basketball. I don't think anyone's ever going to sit here and be like, oh, Vandersloot's on the court. Oh, no. That's never going to be a tone with Courtney Vandersloot running an offense. She knows what she's doing. She knows how to, she's also a great teacher, a great leader. She may not be insanely vocal, but as I've said, when she speaks, everyone listens. She commands that presence, that attention, that respect. Just a great pickup for this guy in free agency, and she's going to do phenomenally well in not only helping develop the youth that's on this team, but also in getting the Sky to being part of that winning mentality, which is selfless basketball, everyone being there for each other, understanding that it takes everybody on the team to win games. It doesn't just come down to 3 or 4. It's in this case, all 12 or all 11 players that are going, it takes all of them. And it takes all of them to understand that they need to put their ego in check and play selfless basketball while also doing the actual X's and O's nitty gritty of everything, making sure the ball moves quickly, less turnovers, high shooting percentage, all that. That's not what I'm talking about, though. Having that type of selflessness, and it's been a theme all preseason, is something that will be crucial for this guy. And Courtney Vandersloot is somebody that knows how to do that. Not only that was talked about in media day, the other thing is player development, which both Jeff Pagliacca and Tyler Marsh have a heavy background in. And they were asked this about numerous players, Westbeld, Van Lith, and then Angel and Kamilla, how do you want to see them grow? And he said, and I'm paraphrasing, he goes, I believe it's unfair to put all these high standards on these rookies and first and second year players who, when they come into the league, only have 2 weeks to get acclimated to a system, to learn a system, learn their teammates, understand their teammates, and we put these exorbitant expectations on them to be great, when in reality, their rookie season is the worst that they will ever look. Like, it's just a fact. The rookie season will be the worst that a player will ever look, because as you continue to play in the league, you get that experience, you grow, you develop, your game expands, things happen. Specifically, people asked about what Angel Reese and her development will be, because what we've seen in this preseason so far is you're seeing Angel actually out on the perimeter. You're also seeing Angel bring the ball up the court. You're seeing her also be inside, get the rebounds, all of that, but she's also assisting. And for a lot of people, including myself, I only started watching Angel when she got to LSU. I didn't watch her at Maryland. And she said today, she goes, a lot of people did not really know what I have in my bag and what's there. I know how to be in systems where I am, being a facilitator. I am being a defender. And the defense showed, because she won the Unrivaled Defensive Player of the Year, which she said she took so much pride in. So if this development and having her be this point forward, if you will, in the league is going to be it's going to be real fun to watch all season, seeing Angel bring the ball up and drive to the rack, which we saw in that last preseason game at Minnesota. It was early in the first quarter. Angel gets the ball. It was either it was a defensive rebound. She gets the defensive rebound, moves the ball up the floor, and then just takes it herself and lays it in. Fantastic. That is, you're going to see more of that, along with her getting comfortable and taking the mid-range, taking the perimeter shots, being more of that well-rounded player. And I said it the moment she got to the Sky on Mark Schindler's podcast, that if you give Angel 5-6 years, she can absolutely become the new Candace Parker in regards to what she can do. There's things offensively in developing her offensive shot that she absolutely needs to get down, but that's not going to happen in 1 year, 2 year, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, different situation. She has no ceiling, as they've said all season. She has a motor that doesn't quit. And when you have that type of work ethic and the respect for the game and respect for the work that goes into being a pro, you're just on an upward trajectory. And that's what Tyler Marsh wants to get out of Angel is, I don't like this word, but exploiting her versatility, making sure that she can be versatile and know what she can do, not just offensively, but defensively as well. In regards to Kamilla Cardoso, they also want to see that versatility out of her. We've seen the high-low game with her and Angel in the preseason. She's done great as a screener. But the one thing that I've seen from Kamilla has just been that confidence. And she said that playing in China was something, she goes, I practice a lot. You practice a lot in China. So it really helped me work on my game and understand that I can do what I know I can do and building that confidence. We saw it in the last preseason game. Rebound came off the board, the ball came off the glass. She gets the offensive rebound and just shoots it over somebody. She's 6'7". She needs to understand that she's got that stature and can do that because she's 6'7". So you're seeing her find that confidence in her build, in her stature. And also, we're still going to see her crash the board. You're still going to see a lot of what you saw last year in the rebounding game, but you're going to see Kamilla get comfortable as well, taking the mid-range, taking that. But the biggest thing that has stood out to me about Kamilla Cardoso's game is her defense. One, she's a lot faster than people give her credit for. One, she was in, I want to say it was the Brazilian game, the game against the Brazilian national team. She was doing a face guard. She switched on the ball and then was still able to get back and block a shot. At 6'7", that's speed, that's length, that's something that is going to be incredibly impactful. And if you have anybody that's 6'7" on any team, that's going to be so impactful. So to see her get that confidence and understand her body, understand her strength, understand her speed, and utilize it in a way that's beneficial for the team. And I believe Tyler Marsh and also assistant coach Courtney Paris will be monumental in getting that out of her this year. She has also a very, very high ceiling in development, or no ceiling, as they like to say. They love puns, saying the sky's the limit. So this has been a great preseason. I've said it since the first day of camp to now, that this is just a team that is night and day difference from 2024. There is more direction. There's more clarity. You're seeing better. You're seeing the ball move. This team loves to play with pace in transition, wanting to move the ball up the floor and not limiting who can bring the ball up the floor. You also have shooters. Defensively, though, is going to be the thing that will take time to develop. Offensively, it's there. They're gelling. They're clicking. Defensively is going to be their biggest thing this season, is understanding how to grow their defensive game. We've, especially in that last preseason game, there were higher defensive numbers across the board, were a little bit lower. Lower block shots, lower steals. The deflections were there, but nothing like what the game was at Win Trust or the game against the Brazilian national team. And that also goes to Minnesota's credit. Cheryl Reeve is a phenomenal coach, so she knows how to scout and understand and pick apart. And the one thing that Minnesota did that I think will be the Sky's downfall is Minnesota found a way to spread the Sky's defense out. So it was hard for recoveries to happen, switches to happen, a safety help to happen. So that's something that the Sky are really going to need to work on. And that's going to come with, one, playing together more, watching more film, understanding each other more, comes with time. So I'm very, very, very impressed to see what this Chicago Sky team has done. It's just been really fun to watch. Night and day difference from 2024. Night and day difference. I'm just really impressed by what the Sky have done. I believe they will be making the playoffs. The only reason that I could see them not making the playoffs is, knock on wood, Sky fans, is if there are injuries. So, and that's something, again, expanded rosters, just WNBA, expand the rosters, please. 14, 15, you don't need any more. All right, I'm done. I'm not going to go on a diatribe. Did that last week. Save you guys a lot. Before we continue on to discuss things that are happening in the WNBA across the league as a whole, I want to make sure that you follow us on all of our platforms at Courtside KB on Twitter, TikTok, Blue Sky, Instagram. And then I decided to create a Threads because I know there are people that don't use Twitter anymore, and Threads has become their way of getting information. And you know what? I want to be on that space with y'all to make sure that you guys can get all the information here on the Chicago Sky. Handle is the same thing across the board at Courtside KB. If you're listening to us, you can find us on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, iHeartRadio, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you're watching us on YouTube, please make sure you like, comment, subscribe. I want to give a shout out. There was one person who did give a phenomenal comment on feedback on what they wanted to see in the show, like creating chapters for it. And I sat there and I was like, you know what? That's actually not a bad idea. So I'm here to take the feedback, understand things that will make this a better viewing and listening experience for all of you. And then on top of that, that Patreon that I've talked about these last couple weeks, it's starting next week in the first official week of the WNBA season. You can find us at Courtside with Karli Bell on Patreon. Now, remember, there's two tiers that you can sign up for. The first tier is the zone tier. That just means for $3, you want to support the podcast and you get it early. That's it. Not getting anything exclusive. You'll get it the moment within me recording. You'll get the podcast. Within 2 hours of me recording and editing, you will get the podcast. You will get it early. That's what that is. But if you want to subscribe to that man-to-man tier for $6, you not only get the podcast a little bit earlier than everybody else, but you also get those exclusive videos each week where I will be picking either a player, a topic, something that I feel that I couldn't really cover in our full episode because there's so much to talk about. And who knows, I might give some history lessons on there, might have some special guests that you only get on the Patreon on there. We'll see what happens with this season. There's so much time that can happen here in 2025 and this summer. So make sure that you tune in there. And let's say you're also a big reader, which I appreciate, y'all. This is for free for y'all on our website, courtsidewithkarlibell.com. You will have everything Sky related on there, as well as some WNBA news, which as you are hearing this later this week, before that first game on Friday, I will be putting out my rankings of the WNBA teams of where I see everybody finishing. I got some fun little things in there. I'll have small explanations for everything. So if you want to see who I believe will finish and where I believe teams will finish this season before the season even kicks off, make sure you go to our website, Courtside with Karli Bell. Again, I cannot extend my appreciation and so for all of y'all's support on this. It's really been phenomenal to see people enjoy this, understand that this is something I'm doing for the first time and giving me grace as I continue to build this. And so who knows what will happen here. This is only episode 6, so there's still a lot of things that can come out of this. I really cannot express my gratitude for the support that we've gotten for this podcast so far. Again, please make sure you subscribe to our YouTube, like and comment. We've already surpassed 225 subscribers, which is just so unreal to me. Honestly, I really didn't think these numbers would be happening already. It's really astonishing, and it's all thanks to y'all. So make sure you like, comment, subscribe on our YouTube. All right, before we wrap things up, let's get into the WNBA. More roster cuts. Poor Cheyenne Sellers, man. I don't think she's going to make a roster. I really thought she was going to be able to make it in Atlanta, but they cut her and waived her, unfortunately, on Monday, as well as Seattle Storm waiving Serena Sundell, which, in my opinion, is a little surprising because they have so many injuries. Nika Mule, Katie Lou Samuelson, as well as Jordan Horston with those ACL tears. So that kind of only gives them 10-ish, 11-ish, either 10 or 11 players. And Serena Sundell is the guard, and that's where more of your injuries are, is in the guard group. So I really thought Serena would stay in Seattle. You know, obviously I don't cover Seattle, so I don't know what's going on over there. I don't know what's going on in the front office, why the reason was, all that stuff. It is what it is, and that's why expanded rosters, WNBA. All right, I'm done pushing. I really am. And then the other cut that happened, again, this is being recorded on Monday, so there will be plenty more cuts that come out after this, was the Aces cutting Deja Kelly. I didn't think she would make a final roster, in my personal opinion. I believe she needs some more time to develop, and I think her either playing overseas or doing her own personal training, whatever she decides to do in this WNBA season in the summer, maybe take some time off because she did just play a full collegiate year. I think she is somebody that will be back. She'll be back. This is where roster spot. I'm done. I'm not going to bring it up again. I told myself I'm not going to bring it up again. But it's true. If there were more roster spots, I believe all three of these guards that were cut in Cheyenne Sellers, Serena Sundell, and Deja Kelly would have made rosters. So I wish them nothing but the best of luck, along with anybody else that does get waived this week, just because you didn't make this year's roster. Be prepared for what could be more roster spots coming in the future, as well as this. Use this as fire. Use this as fuel. If you really want to play in the W, work on your bag, work on your game, and see what you can do in coming back to the W in 2026. Now, before we wrap up, there's a lot of games this weekend, a lot of things happening. Obviously, I think the biggest game that everyone's going to be watching is the season opener between the Sky and the Fever at Indiana. I personally will not be in Indiana for that game. I will be covering it remotely here in Chicago. So if you want to follow along on my Twitter at Karli Bell 33 for all the updates and things, analysis there, by all means, as well as at Courtside KB, where I will be posting stats throughout the game. And that will be a theme all season long. But there's other games, and I'm going to go through the 3 days this weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and there's games Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, which is going to be the only time that you see games on Monday throughout this entire season, is that right at the very start. I'm going to pick my games that I think are the ones to watch outside of that Sky Fever game. On Friday, I'm looking at that Minnesota Dallas game. One, I really think Minnesota is playing with just a huge chip on their shoulder. They are salty that they did not get that championship, and they are playing with vengeance, with ferocity. I saw it even in a preseason game. They just want to win, and you see it. And Nafisa Collier, just say I got this new energy about her, and I think she's going to do really well. This is also the WNBA regular season debut for Paige Beckers. And, I'm someone who's watched Paige since she was 14, 15 years old, right when that first Twitter mixtape that she put out blew up, where she was, trash talking the other coach. I love her. She's fantastic. Trash talking other things, saying, you don't know how her plays, all that, blah, blah, blah. I love her attitude. I love her energy. I love how she plays. I'm excited to see her develop as well this season, along with a lot of other rookies. But I think that Minnesota-Dallas game on Friday is a game that everyone should have their eyes on. There's other games, obviously, but in my opinion, that's the game to watch on Friday. On Saturday, obviously, Sky Fever, but, I'm trying to not just talk about the Sky here. The other game that I really want to watch is the Las Vegas-New York game. You got the reigning champions in New York going against Becky Hammond's Las Vegas Aces and Asia Wilson, who, by the way, sporting phenomenal pink hair. Love it. Matching her A1s, which I'm so mad I couldn't get those shoes. I'm on the market for a new basketball shoe, and I really wanted to try them out. So I'll get my hands on them eventually. I'm not a pink girl, so if she comes out with like a black and white scheme, I'll get my hands on that. But Aces Liberty, I think that's going to be just a dogfight. It's always a fun battle every season between those two. I think also this is going to be a battle that will be very determinant later on, obviously not in May, but determinant later on in how they seed in the playoffs. Because once, tune in for what my WNBA preseason rankings will be later this week. I have both of these teams finishing pretty high. So seeing how they play against each other can really give a glimpse into what the playoffs will be in that game. That's going to be a really fun game to watch outside of the Sky Fever game as well. And then on Sunday, there's games on Monday, Tuesday, but we'll talk about that next week. On Sunday, I know people might be a little shocked by this, but I'm going to say this. The Washington-Connecticut game is going to be very interesting to watch. You have a Connecticut team that everyone's trying to understand what their identity is, and you have a rebuilding Washington Mystics team. So I'm not saying this is a basement battle without saying it's a basement battle, but it's kind of a basement battle. So these are going to be two teams where you can see the fundamental growth of what the organizations are trying to do. Two new head coaches, new front office for both of them, completely different looking teams than what they were in 2024. So I think that's going to be a really great test for both teams to see what they're capable of, what they can do come the start of the season on Sunday when they play each other for the first time. It's going to be a great game, probably low scoring, but it will be a good one to watch if you're interested in what development in the league looks like. Not looking, if you're a fan, that's different. But if you're just a hoops person like myself, you kind of just want to see, oh, how do they plan on using this person? How do they plan on using this person? There's a lot of injuries happening in Washington right now. So how do they plan to work around the injuries? Connecticut in a whole new team, different identity, a lot of international presence there too. What are they going to look like? How are they going to play against each other? I think it's going to be a really great battle between those two. But I hope you've enjoyed this episode. In a couple weeks, I'm going to have some guests joining me here soon. Got to let the season start. So I hope you guys are not sick and tired of just hearing me talk for 30 some odd minutes. I could talk for an hour if you give me enough time, but I'm not going to do that to you guys because, some people, that's a lot of talking of one person. So that's all I have here on this episode of Courtside with Karli Bell. Make sure you find us on anywhere you get your podcast. Follow us everywhere on all platforms at Courtside KB. Check out our website, courtsidewithkarlibell.com, and I'll see you next time on the sidelines.